All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at lost civilizations.
Fascinating stuff.
It really is, and we've got some great sources to pull from the Lost Civilizations book series. And this article, it's called Nine Civilizations That Met Mysterious and Unfortunate Ends from Ancient Origins.
Oh, yeah, I read that one. It's a good one.
So basically, what we're going to try and do today is unpack what makes a civilization lost, you know?
It's more than just like empires crumbling. It's about societies that just vanish. Poof.
Exactly. And we're left scratching our heads wondering what happened. It's kind of like a historical puzzle, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So let's start with a civilization everyone's heard of, the Maya. They were pretty advanced, right? I mean, they had the concept of zero way before Europe.
Centuries ahead. Think about it. To think of nothing like as a number, a
Yeah.
mathematical thing, that's a huge intellectual leap. And don't forget, their astronomy and math, it was remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, they made these super accurate calendars and aligned their cities with like the stars and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, with celestial events.
But then, boom, around 900 AD, they're gone. What happened?
Well, that's a question that's been debated forever. It wasn't just one thing.
Like a perfect storm.
Right, a bunch of factors. We know now they had some really bad droughts. Paleoclimate data shows that.
And their agriculture was so dependent on a stable climate.
Exactly. Imagine even small changes could mess everything up.
So you've got these droughts, maybe too many people, and fighting within their own society, and possibly even wars with their neighbors.
Right, it all adds up to a pretty unstable situation. But they didn't totally disappear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, their descendants are still in Central America. They kept some of their ancestors' culture alive.
That's amazing. It's like a thread through time. Now, how about Easter Island? Everyone knows those giant heads.
The Moai statues.
Right. They're incredible, but kind of make you wonder what happened there.
It's a classic cautionary tale.
Yeah, about using up all your resources, right?
Yeah, the Rapa Nui people, they carved these huge statues from volcanic rock and moved them all over the island.
That must have taken a ton of wood, trees for sure.
Absolutely. Timber was essential. And deforestation is a problem, definitely. But newer research suggests it's not the whole story.
Oh, really? So what else was going on?
Well, Europeans came, brought diseases, and that really hurt the island's population.
Of course, that happened everywhere.
And there's evidence they were fighting among themselves, too. So it wasn't just about the environment.
More complicated than it seems at first.
Right, always more to the story. History's rarely black and white.
So true. Okay, let's go from a small island to a huge civilization. The Harappans of the Indus Valley. They were massive. Over 400,000 square miles.
Huge.
Yeah.
And they were amazing planners. Their cities were so advanced.
Yeah, I read about their sewage systems. Way ahead of their time.
Oh, for sure. And their cities, laid out in grids,
Yeah.
standard weights and measures. They were very organized and
So
sophisticated.
they even had their own writing system.
Yes, but we can't read it. It's undeciphered.
Imagine if we could, though. All those secrets.
It would be incredible. We used to think they were wiped out by some Aryan invasion.
Ooh, right, I'd heard that.
But now, research suggests it was. You guessed it,
Climate change.
climate change. The Harappans were really dependent on the monsoons for their agriculture. And there's evidence those monsoon patterns changed. Maybe they had huge droughts.
Makes sense. If the rains don't come.
It's devastating. Even for an advanced civilization, really shows you how powerful nature is.
Okay, now for something completely different, an underwater city. Thonis, an Egyptian city. It was underwater and people thought it was just a myth. Until recently.
Isn't that cool? A whole city under the sea.
What was it like?
Well, it was this bustling port. They called it Heraklion, too.
Hmm.
And it controlled tons of the trade coming from Europe. A real hub.
Connecting Egypt to the rest of the Mediterranean.
Exactly. But what happened? How did it end up underwater?
Yeah, why is it at the bottom of the sea?
It seems like a few things happened. They probably had tsunamis and earthquakes, which would weaken the city.
Yeah.
And then the sea level started rising, little by little,
Hmm.
until whoosh, the whole city was submerged.
Wow, swallowed by the sea.
It's a reminder, even the greatest cities, nature can take them down.
It really makes you think, what else is out there? Hidden beneath the waves, waiting to be found.
Or under the earth.
Right. Who knows what secrets are still out there? I know. It's wild. A whole city underwater for centuries, just waiting to be rediscovered. Makes you wonder what else is out there.
Right. It's humbling, isn't it? Whole civilization's
Yeah.
gone,
Mm.
leaving just these little hints for us to try and understand.
Little whispers from the past.
Yeah, whispers. And sometimes they're in the most unexpected places, like Hatayuk. It's in modern Turkey, one of the earliest cities we know of.
I read about that. It's like a city on the rooftop he asked.
Exactly. No streets, just rooftops. Can you imagine?
Walking around up there must have been a tight-knit community.
Oh, for sure. Their houses were all jammed together. You went in through the roof. So everyone's up on the rooftops, hanging out,
Wow. And they buried their dead under their houses.
right under the floor. It shows you how strong their connection to their ancestors was. Home was sacred.
And there's all that art too, right? Murals, figurines.
Very artistic culture.
Yeah.
But, like a lot of these civilizations, eventually, they declined.
Why? What happened there?
Well, we're still figuring that out. Disease is a possibility. Or changes in the climate. Maybe they ran out of
Or
resources.
these social stuff too, right? Economics.
Absolutely. It's probably a mix of things.
Yeah.
Environment, society, culture, it all plays a role.
It's never just one thing, is it?
Rarely. Okay, ready for a change of pace. Let's go from rooftops to, well, the biggest temple complex in the world.
Angkor Wat. You can't even describe it. The pictures don't do it justice. It's massive.
It's awe-inspiring, truly. All those temples, shrines, reservoirs, so intricate.
The detail. It shows how powerful the Khmer Empire was.
At their peak, yeah. And they were masters of water. They built these huge reservoirs and irrigation systems.
To keep everything going, the agriculture, the cities.
Exactly. They were incredibly advanced. But then, after 1200 AD, the empire, it's gone.
Another mystery. What happened to them? Was it climate change again?
It's hard to say for sure. There were droughts, long ones. And their water systems, they might have actually made things worse.
Oh, wow. The very thing that helped them.
Could have backfired. But we have to look at other things, too. Politics, maybe they expanded too much, fought with their neighbors.
It's never simple, is it? Always multiple pieces to the puzzle.
That's history for you. Okay, from Southeast Asia, let's hop over to North America.
North America, what's there?
A civilization you might not have heard of. Cahokia. It was in what's now Illinois, the biggest settlement north of Mexico before Columbus.
Really? I had no idea. What was it like?
They built these giant mounds, some over 100 feet tall, made of earth. They used them as platforms for temples, houses, public buildings.
Wow. Okay, so they were pretty advanced if they could build stuff like that.
For sure. But here's the thing, they didn't have writing.
So how do we know about them?
Archaeology,
Yeah.
digging stuff up. And what we found tells us they were complex. A stratified society, they understood astronomy, agriculture.
And traders, right.
Oh yeah, big time. Trading networks all over North America. But around 1200 AD, they're gone.
Another vanished civilization. Was it sudden or like a slow decline?
It's debated. There was a huge flood around that time.
That could do it.
It could, but it might have been part of a bigger pattern, you know? Environmental changes, social stuff, maybe diseases popping up.
It seems like every time we turn around, it's environmental change impacting these civilizations. Droughts, floods, the climate shifting.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme. Shows how connected we are to the planet. It's not separate from us.
We're part of it,
Yeah.
just like those civilizations before us.
And our choices matter, just like theirs did.
It's a mirror, isn't it? Seeing ourselves in their stories.
Exactly. Okay, let's go from the mountains of Cahokia to an island. Crete, home of the Minoans.
Ah, the Minoans. Known for their art, right?
Yeah.
And sailing.
Right. They loved nature, art, ritual. They built palaces like Knossos, amazing places, frescoes, plumbing, even like early air conditioning.
No way. Air conditioning back then.
It's true. And yeah, they were great sailors, traded all over the Mediterranean,
A seafaring people.
for sure,
Yeah.
connected to the agency, exchanging goods, ideas.
Hmm.
They were part of this big network. But then,
Hmm.
well, disaster struck. Literally.
The volcano.
Thera, it's Santorini now. It erupted.
I've read about that. It was huge EE, one of the biggest eruptions ever.
It was devastating. Tsunamis crashed onto Crete, buried Minoan towns in ash.
Talk about a bad day.
Understatement. It shows you how powerful nature is and how fragile we are.
Did it wipe them out completely, the eruption?
Not right away. They hung on for a while, but it weakened them, made them vulnerable to conflict maybe or invasion.
So it wasn't the only factor, but
It was a big one.
Yeah.
It's still debated exactly how they ended, but Thera was definitely part of it.
it shows how connected everything was back then, the whole Mediterranean.
One event could ripple out, change the course of history.
Wow. History's not a straight line, is it? It's full of twists and turns.
And surprises. Okay, last stop on our journey. We're going to Mesoamerica, the cradle of civilizations. To the Olmec,
The Olmec, they're the ones with those giant stone heads,
the
right?
colossal heads, some weigh 50 tons. They were master sculptors.
It's mind-blowing how they moved those things.
They were amazing. And they did jade carvings, cave paintings. Their art shows us their beliefs, their reverence for nature, their powerful rule.
They were advanced in other ways too, right? Cities, agriculture.
Oh, yeah. Urban planning, agriculture, they had it all. They built drainage systems, raised platforms for their settlements. They thrived in a tough environment.
And they influenced everyone who came after, right? The Maya, the Aztecs.
Absolutely. The Olmec are considered the mother culture of Mesoamerica.
Hmm.
But, like all the others, they declined. And we're not sure exactly why.
Was it the environment?
Could be volcanoes, maybe changes in rainfall patterns.
Or something else? Internal struggles, new civilizations coming up, running out of resources.
It's a puzzle. It could be any of those things,
Right.
or a combination.
The more we learn, the more we realize it's never simple.
That's the thing about studying lost civilizations.
Yeah.
Their stories are complex, full of layers.
They face challenges just like we do.
But they were resilient, they adapted, they created amazing things. They show us how complex societies work, the challenges they face, how they bounce back.
We can learn so much from them. We've really journeyed through time, haven't we? All these lost civilizations, the Maya, the Olmec, they're gone. But they left these pieces behind, these clues, and it makes you wonder, what can we learn from them? They might seem ancient, but I think there are lessons there for us today.
Oh, absolutely. They might be lost, but their legacy, it's still here.
Yeah.
Not just in the ruins, but in what we can learn from their successes and failures. You know? One thing that really stands out is how connected we are to the environment. Humans and nature, it's all intertwined.
It's true. We saw it again and again, how changes in the environment, sometimes gradual, sometimes like a big wham, they played a huge role in how these civilizations lived and died. The Maya and those droughts, the Harappans and the monsoons changing, the Minoans and that volcano, it really makes you think.
It's like a wake-up call, right?
Mhm.
To pay attention to how we're treating the planet. What we do today with resources, with sustainability, with climate change, it's going to have a ripple effect. We can learn from the past, see those patterns that led to collapse, and try to make things better.
It's like looking in a mirror, you know,
Hey.
seeing ourselves in their stories.
Yeah. Another thing that strikes me, it's how adaptable humans are, how resilient. All these civilizations, they had to deal with incredible stuff. Climate change, not enough resources, social unrest, wars. And the ones who were able to adapt, to innovate, to find new ways to live, they were the ones who survived longer.
They rolled with the punches.
Exactly. And think about the ones we talked about, the Harappans with their cities, those sewage systems, how they thrived in a tough place. The Maya, their math, their astronomy, they understood those complex cycles and patterns. They used knowledge, they were ingenious, and that helped them thrive for a long time.
So it's like we have that potential too, to be resilient, to innovate. We can learn from what they did, use new knowledge, and work together to create a better future, but we have to choose to do it.
Right, it's a choice. And it makes you wonder, what if, way in the future, there are other civilizations studying us? What would they see? What would they think about how we live? Would they see us as a civilization that learned from the past, that cared about sustainability and working together, that valued creativity and kindness? Or would they see something else?
That's a really good question, and I guess the answer's not written yet. Our story, it's still being written. We get to decide what we leave behind. I hope that talking about these lost civilizations has made everyone think a bit about those big questions, about how fragile but also how strong we are and the role we each play in shaping the future.
It's true. We've seen that even the most advanced societies, they weren't invincible. They could decline, they could fall, but we've also seen how incredible humans are. We adapt, we innovate, we create beauty, we find meaning, even when things are tough. And that, to me, that's hopeful. We can learn from what came before, build something better, make sure our story is one of resilience, of ingenuity, of progress.
I like that. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into lost civilizations. Thanks for coming along on this journey with us. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep learning from the stories that history has to tell.